Alrighty, good morning everybody.
Good morning.
Okay. Is it afternoon? Not yet.
Good morning.
Not according to McDonald's. Okay, guys. All right, let's try this again. Good morning.
Good morning.
There you go. So my name is Peter Mora. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'm going to give you a big picture of what we're going to be doing today, and then we're going to go into a small picture. For beginners, again, my name is Peter. I'm here through the Experience, Confidence, and Enjoyment in Learning program, or the ExCEL program. And what we're going to be doing today is part one of a three-part series. There should be 3 workshops this semester. And again, this is still big picture. The 3 workshops this semester are all pretty much going to be psychoeducational material that we're going to be presenting to you guys. That has to do with academic motivation, test anxiety, and a couple of reflection exercises. And long story short, it's to increase passing rates in supplemental mathematics. So that's big picture. We're going to go small picture for today. What we're going to be doing today is you guys all have a sheet in front of you. It's a 2-sider. So I'm going to borrow this real quick. So this half, we're going to start with this first and kind of discuss what's on this side. And then after that, we're going to flip it over. There's an activity that we're going to be doing. For now, though, and this is probably the biggest task I want to ask from you guys. And you guys, if you take this sucker out, go ahead. Go ahead. Put it on silent if you can. And if you dare, turn it off. And it's going to get crazy in here. So, give it a couple more seconds. Once you do that, let's go back to the board. So my name is Peter. I'm here from the ExCEL program. There's a couple things that I do want to kind of just point out right before we get started. First is our website, cson.edu/Eisner-education/ExCEL. On that website, or the ExCEL website, it has a bunch of information, not only about our program, but a bunch of resources that you guys could use as students. So it has a couple guidebooks in there. It has YouTube videos that we've created, and this one's going to be on there eventually. And it has some resources across campus that you guys could use in order to succeed throughout CSUN. Lastly, oh, by the way, I'm also here through the mic of the Eisner College of Education. And the last part is my phone number. My office phone number is 818-677-4979. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to give me a ring. I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. All right. That was like, I memorized all that. Kind of. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking, again, at that sheet in front of you. But before we do that, I want you guys to do me another favor. I want you guys to get in groups, about 3 or 4 people per group.
Can we get 2 of those back here?
2 of which ones? The smaller ones?
Yeah.
Can you pass that back, please? Yeah. So the first part is I want you guys to get in groups of about 3 to 4. And I want you guys to do 2 things. First one, just introduce yourself. If you want to keep it simple, go with just name. If you want to go a little bit to like step 2, talk about your major, talk about walking dead, what's your favorite day of the week, something like that. But I do want you guys to kind of get familiar with the people around you because we're going to be doing some group work today. So number 1, just name. Number 2, I want you to identify just your purpose of being in college. Just any purpose. And it could be small, it could just be, I don't know what else to do. It could be big, it's my dream, I was a kid, I want to get a diploma, first one in my family, etc. So, pretty simple, get in groups of 3 or 4. 1, name, 2, purpose of college. I'll give you guys about 2 minutes or so and then we'll come back to the group. So, let's bring it back. I'm kind of interested in the part 2 section. So the purpose of why you're attending CSUN. Would anybody like to share? What's up? What's your name, by the way?
My name is Asia Russell.
Nice to meet you, Rachel.
Nice to meet you. My purpose of attending CSUN is to better my life and my future and to be successful in my major.
Okay. What's your major?
Law.
Law, okay. So, I'll come to you right after this.
My bad, bro.
No, you're good. So, And you can just answer this as honest as you can,
Okay.
or as honest as you want to.
All right.
How is attending CSUN gonna let you kind of meet that goal?
Honestly, I don't know until I actually like come across like actual like major classes, but hopefully it just prepares me for like the difficult and rough trials that I'm gonna have to go through.
Mm-hmm. So you get the pleasure to go through.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
What's up, man?
My name is Keelan, and I'm a jazz studies major. And I came here to make music and have fun while I'm doing that.
All right. How is CSUN gonna help you achieve that goal?
They're like top 10 in the world and like
Very
top
much
10 in the States for music, so they're raw as hell here. So I'm just helping to be some raw as people.
All right. Okay. Fellow music major. When I first came in here. What do you play?
Trombone.
Trombone. Saxophone.
Oh, that's what's up.
That's how we like introduce each other. Saxophone. Trombone. Cool.
Is it alto or tenor?
I play tenor.
You get
except
the
in jazz.
gigs.
Jazz I play alto. Yeah. What's that?
Oh, I say you get the gigs.
Nah. I mean, it's like the cool one, right? So. Alrighty, one more. Purpose of you attending CSUN. What's up?
I'm actually working in the fields right now of my major, which is psychology, and I'm
Okay.
working as a behavior technician with kids with autism. So then that's been kind of my main focus as to why I want to major in psychology and get my BA.
Okay, awesome. You already answered my question too. Okay, so thank you for those that shared, by the way. So the reason I always ask about the purpose for this workshop is because today we're going to be talking about failure. The sheet that you have in front of you is a bunch of quotes, and we'll get to it in a couple seconds. But we're going to be talking about failure today, and it's not an easy conversation. Sometimes people don't want to talk about failures because it could bring up emotions, it could bring up memories. It could also discourage us from doing whatever we want to do. But every single time that I kind of ask some type of direction from you guys or give you guys a directive, I want you guys to think about what you guys just discussed within your groups. Kind of what's my purpose here? Why am I here? Because overall, I mean, the ExCEL program and the Michael Diaz Junior College of Education, we understand that there's an academic side to succeeding through CSUN. Very much so, right? Go to class, study, pass the test, turn in your assignments. But there's also like the social-emotional learning side of academic success here at CSUN. In which case, that's where we come in. So thank you all so much for sharing the purpose part. We'll come back to it little by little. But for now, I'm going to give you a little bit more background in regards to the ExCEL program, and then we'll get straight through this piece of paper that we have in front of you. So the ExCEL program is designed by a gentleman named Dr. Mark Stevens, myself, and the College of Education. We've kind of played around with a couple interventions. Good morning. Let me give you one of these. We've played around with a couple interventions which we're going to be using this semester in order to increase the passing rates for this course. When we talk about failure, when we go into this front side of the sheet in front of you, I want you guys to think about any failure that you guys can come up with. Anything big, anything significant. It can be relationships, it can be a class, it can be any type of conversation, job interview, anything that's big in your life. Obviously, one that we all have in common, in which case, I encourage you guys to pick this one, is the Developmental Mathematics Challenge, which is Math 92, Math 93, Math 97. So with that being said, I want you guys to look at this sheet. Let me grab my copy. Over here. And I want you guys to go back to your groups, same individuals that you guys were talking with. I want you guys to look at this and just find the one quote that you relate to. One quote that you actually get, you understand. If you can, pick two. But I want you guys to pick at least one and kind of find the meaning, why it's so important to you, why do you connect to it. We'll come back as a group, we'll discuss it, and then we'll go on to the next section. Any questions about this part? Okay. I'll give you about 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll come back as a group.
This one right here.
Alrighty, want to kind of get your thoughts? Would anybody like to share this first part?
Me.
What's up? Thank you for
So,
volunteering.
oh, no problem. So the one that best fits me is what defines us is how well we rise after falling. And it seems like it always, like, once you like fall or like a situation happens, it seems like once you understand why, like you get the whole concept, it's like you become better. Like it molds you into like a better person, kind of, in my sense.
Yeah. I think immediately right after you fall, it might be a little challenging, right? To kind of gather this insight. But with time, sure. It might come through. Anybody else relate to that one? Yeah? How do you relate to it?
I feel like when you fall, I guess those are your failures. You grow from them, and it like makes you a different person.
All right. Yeah, it's pretty spot on. From earlier when we talked about kind of purpose, what was that for you?
Excuse me?
When we talked about the purpose of kind of why why you're here at CSUN and why you seek higher education, what was your purpose?
My purpose was because I wanted to learn more, like grow and expand my learning. Just because I feel like when I was in high school, it was very like not open. It was like I don't know if I make sense. I wanted to expand and learn. I guess get woke. I guess.
Okay. Get woke. Hashtag get woke.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this: if that's kind of your goal and you want to expand your learning, you want to get woke, whatever you want to call it, what happens when you try to learn something and you fail? What kind of comes up for you?
Like not giving up because like one of the quotes says it's the first attempt in learning, so like I can always try. And like the word fail is just very like it makes you feel unmotivated. So like I like how it's a different definition here in the like first attempt in learning because it's like it gives me hope like to keep trying.
Keep trying. Yeah. And actually, you brought up a really good point. So I'm going to stay on this one, and then we'll continue with the quote section. But yeah, so let's talk about kind of like that stigma that comes with failing. When somebody says that word, what do you guys think about? What's kind of like the gut feeling that you have? What do you guys remember?
It just has a bad connotation to it.
Has a
Like,
bad
you say
connotation?
you failed this, it's like, you get unmotivated. But if someone tells you, well, your first attempt didn't work out, let's try it again, it has a better meaning to it. It makes you work better.
Yeah, thank you. What else? What else comes up for you guys when you guys think about failure? Anyone feel it? Yeah.
You feel kind of afraid to try again, and that you might not succeed the second time as well.
Yeah. So since we all have this in common, and you guys don't have to raise your hand, but I want you guys to think about, for those of us who did not pass developmental mathematics the first time around, and you had to kind of retake this course, and you were told, well, by the way, you're going to have to retake it. Oh, and another, by the way, if you don't pass it, you're going to get kicked out of the university. I want you guys to briefly just put that mindset on. I want you guys to think about that feeling. So I know we never talk about feelings because we're strong and independent, but I want you guys to just name that. What's that feeling that kind of is in your stomach? Yeah.
Anger.
Anger. At who?
The developmental time.
That's okay. Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. If someone doesn't get it, like, it is hard for them, and like, it's like what, like, you're just gonna kick me out? Like, I'm trying my hardest, but it seems like it's just like, okay, well, money, you get it, you just like go somewhere else.
Okay. What about you guys back there? When you guys think about failure, what's kind of like that feeling that you guys have in your stomach?
I just feel like I'm not going to succeed.
So I'm not going to succeed. It's a strong quote, right? Or it's a strong kind of belief.
Yeah.
There's this quote. Every time I bring it up, I'm like, I'll look up who said it, but I never do. There's this quote that somebody said that said pretty much, if whether you think you can do something or you cannot, you're correct. So if you kind of go in there thinking like, you know what, this is a challenge, but I could do it, chances are you will. But if you go in there thinking like, oh man, I've already done this before and I failed, I'm not going to pass the second time around, it's going to be a lot more difficult to kind of follow up with your goal or to kind of go to step 2, whatever that might be. Yeah. So let's go back to this. Give me another one. Who else kind of related to another quote on here? It could be the same one if you want. Anybody? I'm going to look at the bottom right one. Failure doesn't mean the game's over. It means you can try again with experience. How do you guys relate to that one? Yeah? How do you relate?
Well, okay. I'm sort of like a freelance photographer kind of thing right now. So my like job is to go and contact people, and sometimes those people don't want to work with you. So like at first I went through like a failure, like what did I do wrong, like how did I approach them? But then over time it's just like what they want a little bit more, and also I need to like, you know, find my own kind of like, I guess you could say like aesthetic kind of thing. So it's more like just learning from what I was doing wrong, and, like just not beat myself up for it. Like just because I failed doesn't mean I'm a failure.
Right. That's a really good one. Just because I failed doesn't mean I'm a failure. Makes sense. Well, a way that I kind of like to look at failure, and a lot of other psychological kind of concepts, is throwing it back, TBT, right? Throwing it back all the way like 10,000 years ago, and thinking about like, what's the point of failure? How does that help us? Because you got to remember, back then, 10,000 years ago, we had two goals: survive the day, whatever that might mean, and then reproduce. That was the only goals that we had back then. How does failure help with that? So I'm going to paint you guys a quick picture, a quick little Peter Mora production movie. So you're kind of going down to the river, you're about to get some food, some fishes, and an alligator comes out, almost gets you. You're like, oh man, that was really close. So you failed getting the fish that day. The purpose of failure is to kind of remember, hey, I tried this, that was dangerous, alligator almost got me, let's not do that again. I don't want to die. Right? That's 10,000 years ago. Bring it back to 2017, remove alligator, and insert whatever you want. It could be a test, it could be a course, it could be a conversation. Again, if we leave the school aspect, it could be a relationship that you may have, a job, anything like that. Where you kind of try something and you fail, and it hurts and it feels weird. You don't want to talk about it. You're like, I don't want to do that again. That was weird, you know? So when we have these type of workshops, and we talk about failure, we talk about overcoming failure, it's not going to be so simple as like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to deal with the rest of my failures for the rest of my life. It's not that simple. Just because it has a very natural kind of root in our brain, in our personalities, in our hearts. So the expectation of today is not necessarily like I can fail at anything, I want to be perfectly okay. But it is to kind of challenge you guys to look at it from a different perspective. I'll give you guys an example. So I'm a married family therapist, an intern at this time. And I have a lot of conversations with individuals about relationships and about all that. And at the moment, when somebody comes in and says, I've been with my person for, I'm just going to pick random numbers. I've been with them for 5 years. It's not working out. I don't know what to do. We broke up last week. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. Considered kind of a failure, right? I mean, depending on who you ask, but it's considered a failed relationship. Now, if I ask the person, well, at least now you know how to have a relationship for 5 years, it's not going to make them go, oh, you're right. Okay, I'll see you. Good seeing you. I'll see you next week. But it does kind of offer an opportunity of growth, right? You're right. Now you know how to have a relationship for 5 years. Now you know what type of person you don't like. Now you know the warning signs. Now you know what to look for. Now you know if your mom doesn't like that person, maybe she's right. I don't know, something like that. Like the mom instinct that they have. For those of us lucky enough to have moms. So now you kind of pick up these things. So remove 5-year relationship, bring in math again. What are some things that you guys could pick up through your failures that you experience in developmental mathematics?
Different ways how to approach things. So if you tried a strategy for the first time and it didn't work out, when you figured out that strategy didn't work, and come back to it. Like if it's a problem, you tried it one way and it didn't work out.
Okay.
You can try it another way and then see how that works out.
Yeah, develop different strategies, different game plans. Yeah, right on. Thank you. What else? What else can you get from either failing or not passing something in developmental mathematics? What's up?
The material's not as new, so I kind of know what to expect.
Yeah. So kind of being introduced or reintroduced to material that you're kind of like, hey, I remember this, kind of. Yeah. Oh man, you missed step one. It's all good. Thank you. What else? Give me one more. Something that you can pick up from not passing in developmental mathematics.
Experience.
Experience. So give me a little bit more about experience.
You know what it was like, and you know, I don't know, I guess it just goes back kind of to strategies, like, you know how it was, so when you do it again, when you take the course again, you know what to expect, and you have the experience already, so you just kind of try to approach it with doing strategy.
Yeah. There's one on here about experience, right? Oh yeah, the one that I read, the bottom right one. Yeah. All right. So those phones that are on silent, vibrate, take them out. We're going to do a quick little activity. So if you flip this sucker over, go to the second page. The one that talks about futureme.org activity. I'm going to briefly kind of talk about what this website is for, what the purpose of this activity is, and then we'll get right to it. So futureme.org is it's a pretty cool online tool, in which case you just put in an email, put in your name, you pick a date, and then you can write yourself a message, and then the website sends it to you on the date that you pick. For today, we're going to pick April 24th, by the way. Why April 24th? Great question. So April 24th is about a week or two before finals. So that's when you're going to be receiving this message. So logistical stuff first. Can anybody not get to this website quite yet? Like, hold on, let me close on my Snapchat. Is everybody on this so far? Okay, give you a little bit more time. So www.futureme.org. So in the screenshot, it should look similar in your phone, but on the screenshot that you have to the right side, under your letter, I want you guys to write yourself a letter. I want you guys to write yourself a little something. So keep in mind, you're going to get this a couple of weeks or maybe about a week before finals. So I want you guys to reflect a little bit. Actually, I should probably write this down. I want you guys to reflect a little bit on that first question that we had. Purpose at CSUN. Second part, I want you guys to reflect a little bit on just any type of challenges. Any type of challenges that you have from here over to successfully passing all your courses or your classes, especially this one, by the end of the semester. And lastly, I want you guys to think about what's one thing that you can kind of commit to. What's one action that you're going to commit to in order to increase the chances of you passing this class. And that's going to be up to you guys. It could be something social, maybe don't hang out more, or don't hang out as often with my friends. It could be hang out with the right friends, study a little bit more, use your office hours, whatever you may want to do. So reflect on one thing that you're going to do to help you get to this goal of passing this course. Pretty easy? Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys about 4 minutes. We'll come back and discuss it, and then we'll be good. You guys got 4 minutes. All right, kind of want to get your ideas. What do you guys write about? What was the content? Anybody would like to share?
It was more like me speaking on the things into existence, sort of in a way, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do, but I want you to kind of give a little bit more.
I'll elaborate. Basically, I was saying like, don't stress out because you're going to have like, basically I gave myself a specific percentage to have in the class that I'm in right now.
Okay.
Like, that's my goal for myself.
Okay, so being able to kind of visualize the end goal of it. Okay, all right. Thank you. What else? What do you guys write about? What's up?
I wrote and said to myself that I should double check for any missing assignments or pending assignments.
check for any missing or pending assignments. Okay, what would that do for you? Playing devil's advocate for yourself. What would that do for you?
You will raise your grade.
Raise your grade? Okay, we'll give you an opportunity to kind of do what's asked, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What about back there, dude? What'd you write?
I told myself to go to class.
To go to class? Hold on, that's important, right? Honestly, kind of in your experience, what's step one towards going to class more often?
Like waking up.
Wake up, gotta figure out how to get up. How many of you guys sleep 8 hours a night? Or, I said night. How many hours a night? Anybody sleep 6 hours? 5? 4? 3? Anybody have 2? Oh man, this gets challenging, right? By the way, typical, not healthy, but it's very typical for college students to not get, a full night's rest. Yeah. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. What else? What did you guys write about? I'm gonna pick on you back there. What did you write about? Yeah.
I just told myself, don't worry about challenges that come in the future, just worry about the one that you have right now.
So kind of keeping your attention currently right here. Yeah. Hey guys, let me have your attention just for 10, 15 more minutes and then we'll get out of here. Appreciate it. Okay, so kind of paying attention to the current stuff, the stuff that's happening right now, instead of, what's that? Is that like 10 years from now? Is that a year, the end of the semester?
At the end of the semester, like the next years.
Okay. What happens to you guys when you guys think about way too far ahead?
You start stressing, right?
You start stressing?
You start overthinking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You kind of go down the cycle, right? Of like, if this happens, and this happens, and this happens. Yeah. Yeah. What about, and again, I kind of want to relate it. I want to keep coming back to developmental mathematics. But when you guys think about the possibility of not passing this course, what's kind of that downward spiral thought? What do you guys think about?
Telling your folks.
Telling your folks. Yeah. What do you think the reaction would be?
Oh, shit.
Give me your trombone back. What are you doing?
Why are we sending you to college, this, that, you just taking L's, all this, blah, 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 blah. Wasting money, this, that. Because that financial aid help, and if you don't get financial aid, I don't think your parents can pay for the full college experience.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Right on. How many of you guys are first generation? Yeah. Gotta be proud. Put hands up. Second generation? Third? Fourth? Is that too many years? So like, no, dude, that's too much. Yeah. Kind of thinking about, doing it for your family, and that doesn't always have to be kind of the main reason you're here. But thinking about doing it for your family, doing it for your siblings, if anybody has siblings in here, sometimes serves as kind of like that motivational aspect, right? Sometimes it's like, I just want to be really good in my career. I'll play trombone all I want. We talked about MFT. Earlier somebody said, I want to be an MFT. It's like second semester psychology, and we're already thinking about graduate school and all that stuff. So sometimes, yeah, it can be very helpful, kind of be able to see this road path. Again, the extremity, thinking about it way too much can create, some type of anxiety over it. So, thank you. One more. What did you guys write about? Going back to this activity. What's up?
Since you said it was like a week before finals, I wrote don't be lazy, try to study for your classes and stuff like that.
So don't be lazy, try to study for your classes.
Yeah.
Okay? So kind of similar questions to over there. It's a great goal, by the way. What's step one? What's the first thing you can do towards that goal?
Don't spend too much time socializing. Actually, go to the library, find a quiet place to study, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So kind of step one would be to prioritize kind of your time. Yeah. Have you guys ever experienced? Because I remember I used to do this. And I just graduated a couple years ago. I was here in 2013 and 2015. But have you guys ever experienced this thing where it's like you have this test, you have to study, but just everything else becomes more important? Sorry, Siri. Everything else becomes more important. It's like I should probably clean my room. I haven't cleaned my room in a while. I want to do that. I want to wash my car. I'm going to call my aunt. I have to catch up on cops. I need to watch all the cops and stuff. Yeah. And it feels so easy, right? Got to do all those things before actually you're done and study. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. Or thank you for sharing. Anybody else have anything they want to share on this side? Nobody else?
I told myself how bad it felt to see how I failed the class. So keep that in mind.
Interesting.
I think I put, remind yourself what it felt like to fail in class, so it motivates you for success.
I mean, if you don't mind sharing, and you know, privacy stuff is always there. Share whatever you want. But what did that feel like?
It felt bad. I mean, I blamed myself too, because like, I gave up halfway through. But I know that had I not given it up, I would have passed class. It's just that, I guess how like the quote said, like, I let it get to my heart, and I got upset that I failed like my first 2 tests, so I just gave up. But I'm taking the class again, and like, I'm actually like doing my homework, and I'm paying attention, and I'm asking questions. And I had a different mindset this semester, and so far it's been going good.
Okay.
So it's just like, you have to remind yourself what it felt like to fail, to motivate yourself to do better, so you don't ever have to feel that face again.
It makes me think of this saying, I have a colleague of mine that always says, a lot of things are simple but not easy. Right? Simple idea. Think about the way you failed. Remember how kind of crappy that feeling was? And kind of do things to not get that feeling again. Pretty simple. But it's definitely not easy. It's kind of difficult, right? But yeah, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. All right, couple more things. A joke. Why do scuba divers go backwards when they go into the water?
Monkey.
What's that?
Monkey.
Wait, what? Let me ask my question again. Let me ask my question again.
Yeah, you said it too fast.
Why do scuba divers? I do mumble. Why do scuba divers go backwards when they go into the water? Because if they go forward, they land inside the boat.
That's where I was going.
You're welcome. You can say that during Thanksgiving and all that. All right. Couple more things before we get going. Let me have your attention for 10 more seconds. I understand that this was a workshop that you had to sign up for. This was a workshop that you had to come. I understand that it's hump day, it's Wednesday, and yesterday was pie day, so you guys had a lot of pie. You guys are probably feeling a little sluggish today. So with all that said, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. Hold on, don't pack yet. I really appreciate it. With the research that we're doing with the ExCEL program, we always talk about kind of factors keeping students from seeking help. And seeking help is, goes across the board. It could be psychological, it could be academic, it could be financial. But we always kind of look at these factors. And all the research points that if I stand up here and I tell you guys, look, these are 10 resources on campus, go use them. That's not enough. It does about 10 to 15% of the work. But the other part comes when you guys find the purpose of being here at CSUN, when you guys can actually picture your dreams, look at your goals, something that's a little bit further than just tomorrow, and kind of remember your purpose and why you're here. Because you guys do belong here, period, whether you feel it or not. And you guys are going to be told countless times from today until the day you graduate that you belong here, you're going to do well. I want you guys to believe that very much. But that being said, I encourage you guys to use the resources that we have on the ExCEL program, the ExCEL website. We continue to kind of update and put new material up there. Currently, like I said in the beginning, we have some workshops or some guidebooks in there. We also have some videos and some general psychoeducation about academic motivation and resiliency related material. So I encourage you guys to go to that website. And the last part is, if you put a dot here, at csun.edu, that's my email. If you guys have any questions, either about the presentation or about academic motivation, shoot me a quick email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I would also appreciate some feedback. Either like, do this, or do less of that. Stop yelling at us. Have better jokes. Things like that. I would really appreciate you guys to send me some feedback. Other than that, as we said in the second section, finals is coming up, so I wish you guys luck. Hope you guys help. All that material. Okay? Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time.